The dark, moonless night pressed heavily upon my windshield as I embarked on a treacherous journey down the desolate country road. The flickering beams of my headlights were the only source of light, casting eerie shadows that danced along the dense forest on either side. My knuckles tightened around the steering wheel as an inexplicable sense of unease settled deep within my bones. The road seemed endless, winding and twisting like a malevolent serpent in the blackness. The night was eerily silent, devoid of any signs of life. It was as if the world itself had succumbed to a dormant state, awaiting the arrival of some sinister force that lay hidden within the shadows. A gust of wind whistled through the cracked window, chilling the sweat that trickled down my forehead. I shivered involuntarily, feeling as though unseen eyes were fixed upon me, observing my every move. The paranoia grew, clawing its way into my mind, weaving its web of terror. As I continued driving, a dim glow appeared in the distance, beckoning me forward. A flicker of relief washed over me, for the sight of civilization provided a respite from the desolate darkness. I quickened my pace, desperate to reach the comforting embrace of streetlights and bustling life. However, as I drew closer, my heart sank. The glow was not that of a bustling town or a welcoming haven, but rather the abandoned husk of a dilapidated motel. Its flickering neon sign emitted an eerie, pale light that served only to deepen the haunting atmosphere surrounding it. Curiosity mingled with trepidation, urging me to investigate further. I pulled into the gravel parking lot, the crunching sound beneath my tires echoing eerily in the stillness. The motel loomed before me, its decaying walls adorned with cracked paint and broken windows, like eyes staring out from a hollowed soul. Hesitant footsteps led me to the entrance, where a rusty door creaked open, its hinges protesting in agony. The air within was heavy with a stale, musty scent, and my senses were immediately overwhelmed by a suffocating feeling of malevolence. Shadows danced ominously on the walls, casting grotesque shapes that seemed to whisper macabre secrets. With trepidation, I ascended the creaking staircase to the upper floors. Each step I took seemed to echo throughout the desolate motel, as if announcing my arrival to unseen horrors. The air grew colder, and my breath materialized in front of me like ghostly tendrils. A door at the end of the hallway beckoned me closer, and against my better judgment, I approached. The wood groaned in protest as I turned the knob, revealing a room consumed by darkness. An unsettling presence lingered, like a foul stench that permeated the air. A flicker of movement caught my attention, and I strained my eyes to pierce the darkness. In the dim light, I made out a figure huddled in the corner, their features obscured. A whimper escaped from the depths of their being, causing the hair on the back of my neck to stand on end. Fear consumed me, but a sense of responsibility compelled me to act. I inched closer, my heart pounding in my chest like a war drum. As I reached out a trembling hand, the figure turned to face me. What I saw will forever haunt my nightmares. Their face was contorted, twisted into a grotesque visage of pain and torment. Their eyes, hollow and lifeless, stared into the depths of my soul, as if pleading for release from an eternal suffering. Before I could react, a cacophony of screams filled the room, reverberating through my very being. The walls seemed to close in, trapping me within their suffocating embrace. Madness threatened to consume me as the horrifying figure lunged towards me, its malevolent intent undeniable. In a desperate bid for survival, I turned and fled, my footsteps echoing through the desolate motel. Panic and adrenaline fueled my escape as I raced down the staircase, each step a prayer for deliverance. As I burst through the motel's entrance, the night sky opened up before me, vast and suffused with an otherworldly glow. I stumbled towards my car, fumbling with the keys, the cries of the figure still echoing in my ears. With trembling hands, I ignited the engine and sped away, leaving the motel and its haunting specter behind. The road stretched out before me, unending and relentless, as if mocking my narrow escape. Since that fateful night, I have avoided driving in the dark, for fear that the horrors that lurked within the shadows would resurface. The memory of that terrifying encounter remains etched in my mind, a constant reminder of the terrors that lie hidden in the night, waiting to claim unwary souls. The engine roared as I stepped on the gas pedal, racing down the darkened highway. The wind howled outside, and rain pounded against the windshield, blurring my vision. The wipers struggled to keep up, but the raindrops seemed to dance menacingly in the dim glow of the headlights. I clenched the steering wheel, my knuckles turning white. The road stretched ahead, seemingly endless, disappearing into an inky abyss. The only sound that filled the car was the hum of the tires on the wet asphalt. I glanced at the clock on the dashboard. It read 2:47 a.m. What had possessed me to embark on this treacherous journey at such an ungodly hour? I couldn't remember. The memories seemed to slip away, just like the passing streetlights that flickered past. A shiver ran down my spine as I noticed a figure standing on the side of the road. My heart skipped a beat. I squinted through the rain, trying to get a better look. A hitchhiker, perhaps? But what sane person would be out here at this hour? I decided to keep driving, ignoring the unease settling in the pit of my stomach. But as I passed the figure, I caught a glimpse of its face in the rearview mirror. It was a contorted visage, twisted and disfigured, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. Fear gripped me, tightening its icy fingers around my throat. I glanced back again, hoping it was just a trick of the light, but there was nothing there. Just an empty stretch of road disappearing into the darkness. I tried to shake off the chilling encounter, convincing myself it was a hallucination caused by exhaustion. But then, a flicker of movement caught my attention. I glanced at the side mirror, and there it was again, a figure, running alongside the car at an unnatural speed. My foot slammed on the brake, and the car screeched to a halt. My heart pounded in my chest as I turned to face the window. The figure was there, staring at me with its unnerving eyes, its face pressed against the glass, a haunting smile spreading across its disfigured features. Terror washed over me, and I fumbled for the car keys, desperately trying to restart the engine. Finally, the car roared to life, and I sped away, leaving the nightmarish specter behind. But the horrors of that night were far from over. The road twisted and turned, and the rain intensified, reducing my visibility to near zero. Shadows danced at the edge of my vision, teasing me with glimpses of twisted shapes and grotesque faces. A series of strange occurrences followed. The radio crackled to life, emitting a cacophony of voices whispering in a language I couldn't comprehend. The temperature inside the car plummeted, and I could see my breath in the frigid air. Suddenly, a piercing screech echoed through the night, cutting through the symphony of rain. I slammed on the brakes, my heart racing. Ahead, the road vanished into an impenetrable wall of darkness. Panic set in as I realized I was trapped. There was no escape. The car doors wouldn't budge, and the windows seemed to be sealed shut. I was a prisoner, alone in the suffocating embrace of the night. A whisper floated through the air, a voice that seemed to come from all directions at once. It was soft and chilling, dripping with malevolence. "You cannot escape. This is your eternal torment," it whispered. In the depths of despair, I closed my eyes, praying for a way out. And then, a blinding light pierced through the darkness, illuminating the surrounding landscape. I opened my eyes cautiously and found myself back on the familiar highway, rain still pouring down. I drove on, shaken but relieved to be free from that nightmarish realm. The horrors I had witnessed haunted me, etched into the very fabric of my being. The night had forever changed me, leaving behind scars that time would never heal. As the dawn broke, casting its golden rays over the world, I vowed never to venture into the depths of night again. But the memories of that harrowing journey would forever lurk in the recesses of my mind, a reminder of the terrors that lurk just beyond the headlights on a dark, desolate highway. The engine roared as I cruised along the desolate highway, the darkness of the night enveloping everything in its oppressive embrace. The road stretched out before me like an endless abyss, its black surface occasionally illuminated by the feeble glow of my headlights. My knuckles turned white as I gripped the steering wheel, my heart pounding in my chest, and an eerie sense of foreboding settled over me. Little did I know that this night drive would turn into a living nightmare. The silence of the night was broken only by the rhythmic hum of the engine and the occasional rustle of leaves as they whispered secrets to the wind. I tried to distract myself, turning up the radio in an attempt to drown out the encroaching silence. But the songs seemed distorted, their lyrics twisted into sinister whispers that sent shivers down my spine. As the minutes turned into hours, a dense fog began to roll in, reducing visibility to a mere few feet. My heart raced, panic clawing at the edges of my mind. The fog seemed to wrap around the car like spectral fingers, pressing against the windows as if trying to gain entry. I strained to see the road ahead, but it was as if I was driving blindfolded. Suddenly, from within the mist, an ethereal figure appeared. Its shadowy form danced just beyond the reach of my headlights, taunting me with its elusiveness. My breath caught in my throat as I swerved to avoid it, but the figure seemed to move effortlessly, always remaining just out of reach. I blinked, hoping it was a trick of my tired mind, but the figure persisted, lurking in the depths of the fog. My heart pounded in my chest as I realized the figure was not alone. Others materialized from the darkness, their features indistinguishable, their movements erratic. Panic consumed me as I realized they were closing in, surrounding the car on all sides. Frantic, I pressed down harder on the gas pedal, desperately trying to escape their clutches. But the figures were relentless, their ghostly presence haunting my every move. Their eerie whispers grew louder, filling the car with a cacophony of voices. Each voice carried tales of suffering and despair, tales that echoed in my mind, threatening to drag me to the brink of madness. Their words intertwined, creating a nightmarish symphony that assaulted my senses. Through trembling hands, I wiped the condensation from the windshield, only to come face to face with a ghastly visage staring back at me. It was a reflection, distorted and grotesque, with hollow eyes that seemed to see into the depths of my soul. I recoiled in horror, my mind teetering on the edge of sanity. With a surge of adrenaline, I forced my foot down on the accelerator, determined to break free from this nightmarish ordeal. The car surged forward, the figures momentarily left behind, their haunting whispers fading into the distance. Hope flickered within me, but it was short-lived. In the blink of an eye, the road twisted and contorted, transforming into a labyrinth of winding paths that seemed to lead nowhere. Panic clawed at my chest as I realized I was trapped, a mere pawn in a malevolent game orchestrated by forces beyond my comprehension. The figures reappeared, their ghostly forms surrounding the car once more. Their moans and wails reverberated through the vehicle, their despair seeping into my very bones. Shadows danced across the windows, their movements like tendrils of darkness reaching out to claim me. I closed my eyes, praying for salvation, but when I opened them again, the nightmare remained. The figures pressed against the windows, their faces twisted with agony, their hands leaving smudges on the glass. I screamed, the sound tearing from my throat in a desperate plea for escape. In that moment, as terror gripped me with its icy fingers, I realized I was no longer in control. The car accelerated on its own accord, hurtling down the winding road at a breakneck speed. My screams were drowned out by the sound of screeching tires and metal against metal as the car careened off the road, plunging into the depths of a dark abyss. And then, silence. As I gasped for breath, I found myself back on the desolate highway. The fog had lifted, and the figures were gone, replaced by the solitary expanse of night. Trembling, I looked around, my mind reeling from the horrors I had witnessed. The night drive had become a nightmare, a twisted journey into the depths of my own fears. The road stretched out before me, offering no solace, no escape. I tightened my grip on the steering wheel, my heart heavy with the weight of the unknown. I knew that this night drive would haunt me forever, a chilling reminder of the terrors that lurk in the darkest corners of our existence.